people who train their bodies to do inhuman things like run a marathon, bend or contort their bodies. Where did that fascination with mobility stem from?
It came from being an athlete as a child and a father who was a Marine and living in the country. So I spent a lot of time running with my friends, and once my elementary running was turning into like, oh, I have some kind of something I should push forward. So in middle school, basketball was my thing and track. And with that, in order to get better, you had to train and push your body. So it was always with coaches who just push you and push you. My dad pushed me, pushed me. And then I thought about that feeling you get when you push your body and you understand if you work harder, you get faster or bigger or whatever. So I love when people can take that and just push it to the limits of their limits. So contortionists, athletes who train for marathons, they're my heroes because nobody, I mean, you can train to do it, but you have to be a special person to really do it.
It's mental too.
Right,
It's all
exactly.
in that.
Yeah.
See, what event did you run?
So I ran the 400 meter. Yeah. So, and when I was running in high school, I was thinking about art making. So it was my way of like thinking about, then I was mostly focused on painting and printmaking. I went to art high school, so surrounded by artists, surrounded by art all the time. So for me, making drawings about track then was my thing of like showing how the body can be art form or a art form, and thinking about that whole process of the feeling that you get from running. And since I was a 400 meter runner, we were the most extreme runners.
Yeah, the like you can't help it.
Yeah. So I love that feeling.
Do you get a similar feeling when you're like in the zone or in the midst of?
Absolutely. It's like that, so in the 400, you either sprint it or you pace yourself. And then if you can do both, you're even stronger and faster. So for me, when I would run, it depends on what school, and I would always watch other runners. Like I would go to watch the track meets and take notes and think about the fastest runner and what he's doing, and then I would think about that, and then I would go into my training and try to make that even more intense for me so that I could outdo that person. So the observation of the body started there, and then I took life drawing freshman year of college, and my instructor, Fred Gregory, who was like the most intense man, like really intense. He had a very strict way of teaching formal elements, so I loved that. And we talked a lot about the body and how proportional scales work. And then at that same time, I was looking at Jacob Lawrence, and I was like, oh, I think I want to mix those ideas of being formal but kind of exaggerating. And then I started looking at someone, let's see, who was it? I think it was Philip Guston, and then I started looking at Louise Bourgeois. So I was looking at these surreal, figurative artists, and then I started thinking about dreams and how everybody dream, how that feels. And if you could combine that together, you can make surrealism. And that's kind of what I do.
You talked a little bit about some of your inspirations. I saw that one of those people is, I hope I don't pronounce his last name wrong, Paul Cézanne.
Oh, yes. You know, the Bathers kind of hit me hard in 2018. Like that whole series is kind of something that just started the wall drawings, and I love his brushstrokes. I love his compositions. I love how he can make you feel soft, but sometimes some of the content can be a little hard, but it's like you don't see it or feel it because his paint strokes are so soft.
Okay. Oh, what's the, depending on the size, the average amount of time that you spend on a piece, and do you give yourself a time frame where you like, I want to have this done by this point, or you like, I had finished it?
So for making a lot of these drawings, like this one was drawn with a stick, and I would dip the stick in the ink and use it as a utensil. I think I might have one in here.
Where did you get
Are we thinking stick like the apple tree?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think I wish I had one in here.
This would have provided you with stick. I thought you on Thursday.
Okay, I can do it again on Thursday.
Don't even worry, I'll have stick.
But so for things like that, I'm drawing really fast, and I'm not on a time schedule, but I'm just on like a schedule with the actual medium. And what I mean by that is, this process requires that I have a stick. It requires you to have some patience, and it requires you to let go, meaning that you're not in control because it's water and ink. The forces are against you, so you have to love that kind of thing. And since I work so much and I move so quickly, I needed a medium that could satisfy that notion or that feeling of I have to make the mark really fast, and I have to be okay with what happens. So these brushes are my favorite brushes. This is a bamboo brush. This one has some age to it.
Was it hard grappling with like when you're working with water and grappling with the fact that you're not in control?
So I think that's why I moved towards it. I felt like in my painting and in printmaking, those processes, and I was feeling that I was kind of not finding that freedom anymore. So I stripped down to black and white, and I thought, okay, when I was teaching freshman drawing, everybody hated ink wash. They hated it because they couldn't control it. So I thought, maybe I should just do that, because I was looking for a new way of like executing ideas and making work that had the freedom and the looseness that I was looking for. So I started making these ink drawings, and that was it. I was like, this is what I want. I want something that is going to tell me when to stop and when to keep going. And a lot of time, so I'll have a timer going, and once that timer goes off, I put it away. So with that, I know that I'm done. I'm walking away. I don't want to overcook it. I want things that feel free and expressive. And in order to do that, you have to be okay with like having some kind of control that controls your time and not your medium. So.
Do you ever do blind contours? When I first looked at your work, I always thought it was a blind contour.
So I love that. I love blind contour. I do when I do workshops, and I do when I'm kind of waking up in the morning and in the studio, and I'm trying to get these hands and the coffee to get going. So I will do blind contour for a few minutes. I'll put on a really slow, dreamy album and listen to that while I close my eyes and move the marks around the page. And sometimes when I do that, it's like the most magical thing, and I'll save it. Or do something with it, like frame it, or it'd be a part of something that keeps going.
All right, so that was our interview with William Downs. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. Also, more to come Thursday. We're going to be meeting with him open. He's going to be working with us to make a playlist, put us onto some music. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Bye, babe. Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.